Hello and welcome. We are going to be diving into diet and how that impacts the gut. So today we're going to be talking prebiotics, probiotics. We're going to be talking about polyphenols, resistant starches, fiber. You guys are going to learn what foods you should eat for all of health. We're actually using food as medicine. That's Carly Schroeder here, functional nutrition coach and your fertility coach. Here is what we're going to be covering. The diet's impact on the gut, beneficial foods, foods to avoid for gut health, hydration and gut health, and also the gut-brain axis and how foods can actually impact your mental health. In addition to leaky gut, which we touched base on last week, but getting into more of the impact of the food and also how to start to heal from that. So if you guys aren't already doing it, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, there I have exclusive content that isn't in this course. So make sure you're sharing the course. Do yourself and your friends and your family members a service by offering them support from a place that's trusted source, that's speaking truth to help them get the world pregnant. We're increasing our fertility. Our fertility comes back to our overall health. So please share this course. Warning, this is the most important video in the entire course. You guys know that this is building blocks as you start to understand these concepts. Watch the entire video. Don't skip, don't fast forward. And if you need to, go ahead and watch this on 1.5 or 2 speed. So let's talk about the diet's impact on the gut. And I'm going to explain it to you guys like you're 5, because that's what it takes for me to understand it. So imagine your digestive system is like a garden. To keep this garden healthy, you need to feed it the right things. So here's how different food actually impact your digestive system and the garden. Fruits and vegetables, these are like the flowers and the plants that make your garden beautiful. They give your garden lots of good stuff called fiber and vitamins, which help the good bacteria in your gut grow. The good bugs keep your digestive system healthy and strong. Whole grains, these are like the seeds in your garden. Whole grains like brown rice and oats and quinoa have lots of fiber too. They help the good bugs in your garden grow more. And candy and junk food, these are the weeds in your garden. So if you eat too much candy, chips, or soda, it actually makes the bad bugs grow in your garden. These bad bugs in your digestive system lead you feeling yucky, weak, and literally signs and symptoms. Acne, rosacea, eczema, all of the signs and symptoms will come out somewhere in the body if the digestive health isn't great. Water. So this is like the rain that waters your garden. Drinking lots of water helps your garden stay clean and helps everything in your body work well. We are majority water. We need to be drinking ample of water, feeding our body this. So by eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and yogurt, and drinking plenty of water, you can keep your garden full and happy, feeding the healthy bugs that make you feel great. So we're going to get into some of that food and what it's actually doing, how it's actually feeding your garden bed. So gluten and sugar actually strip the stomach acid. So you guys remember the picture where we were looking at like where digestion starts in the brain and then it goes down the esophagus, it goes into the stomach. The stomach is such an important organ because it has the stomach acid in there that actually starts to break down the food. So remember last week when I talked to you about stomach acid and how not having enough will actually lead you to having acid reflux? So you would be more burpy after you eat a meal. This is showing me that there's not enough acid in the body. Gluten foods such as wheat, rye, barley, all of that actually strips the stomach acid. Well, it actually makes the substances gluey in the GI tract, but sugar, processed sugar like cane sugar coming from beets that's then bleached out, actually strips the stomach lining. I'm so sorry. It actually strips the stomach acid and it starts to change the pH of the body. Vegetable and seed oils have an impact on the gut health. and foods that impact the liver and other digestive organs, which slow down the impacts of gut health. So if you're eating a lot of animal meats or even processed meats, if you're eating a ton of meat in a setting, that actually can impact and have a negative impact on the liver, but mostly processed foods that contain like those canola oils, sunflower oils, it's not real, it's highly inflammatory, impacts the digestive health. It causes inflammation. So beneficial foods are prebiotics, and this is non-digestible fibers that actually act as food for the beneficial gut bacteria. So because it's not digested, it actually helps create some girth, so it goes through the GI tract without being broken down, so it can actually go in and feed this gut bacteria. Its function is to promote growth and activity of the healthy gut microbiota and enhance digestive health. The benefits is improved digestion, maintaining regular bowel movements, and reduces constipation, and it enhances immune function by supporting the gut barrier and the immune responses. There's better mineral absorption, which improves the absorption of essential minerals like calcium and magnesium, and it reduces inflammation and promotes overall health. So our prebiotics are literally feeding the good bacteria in our digestive tract. And when we do that, we build up the good guys that are part of our immune system that is fighting for us to maintain our health. And we are not feeding the bad guys, which is coming from the processed food. So here is a place you're going to want to take notes as you can start to implement this into your day every single day, and eating garlic. So garlic is rich in inulin, and it's a type of prebiotic fiber. It adds flavor and boost to the gut health. So while my husband and I were living in Korea and in Asia, garlic was served as a side dish. And so we ate it with each of our meals. Raw garlic is best if you can eat it in that, like slice it up and put it in a tossed salad. It helps with decreasing the infections in your body, getting rid of parasites. It feeds the healthy prebiotics, the healthy gut. And so definitely start to put prebiotics or garlic in the diet. In addition to onions, they contain FOS and inulin, and it's a versatile ingredient in many cuisines. If we can eat garlic and onions in its raw form, that's more beneficial than when it's cooked or sauteed. You can actually also ferment these foods and get beneficial prebiotics that way. Bananas provide resistant starch, especially when slightly green, and they're easily snack and a versatile ingredient. Asparagus is high in inulin content, and it's a great side dish or could be used in salads. And oats contain beta-glucan, which has a prebiotic properties, and it's excellent for baking or breakfast. We use oats in overnight oats. We use oats for our baking. We use oats for our milks. And so you can literally take your oats, grind them up, eat it that way, or I make little protein-packed balls where the kids have raw oats as a prebiotic in feeding the healthy microbes in their digestive tract. So how to incorporate more prebiotics into your diet? Add garlics and onions to soups and stews. Eat bananas as a snack or smoothies. In side dishes, put in asparagus in your meals. In breakfast, start your day out with some oats topped with fruits and nuts. So getting in some protein as well. We want to make sure we're getting that 20 grams of protein at a minimal with each meal. And so you're not seeing the spike in your blood sugar and then a drop. And you're also feeding the microbes in your stomach. Next, I want to talk about the resistant starches. So resistant starches are a type of carbohydrate that resist digestion in the small intestine and instead ferment in the large intestine. This process yields several health benefits, making resistant starches a valuable addition to the diet. So here's an analysis of the resistant starches and their benefits. Resistant starches are categorized into 4 main types. RS1 are found in seeds, legumes, and unprocessed whole grains, and it is physically inaccessible due to the fibrous cell walls. RS2 is found in raw potatoes and green bananas, and it's resistant to digestion due to the granular structure. RS3 is formed when certain starchy foods like rice and potatoes are cooked and then cool. This is known as the retrograded starch. And RS4 is chemically modified starches that are designed to resist digestion. So all of these are actually resisting digestion so it can feed the microbes in the large intestine. So there's a purpose for this. And then learning about the resistant starches and also setting yourself up with some ideas of how to add the resistant starches in your diet is going to help you eating for your health. So here are some of the benefits of the resistant starches. You're going to see improved gut health. The resistant starches function as prebiotics, feeding the beneficial gut bacteria. The fermentation process produces short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, which is particularly important for colon health. Butyrate serves as an energy source for colon cells and has anti-inflammatory properties, reducing the risk of colon cancer and other inflammatory conditions. Enhanced insulin sensitivity. So consuming raw starches can improve insulin sensitivity, which actually helps regulate the blood sugar levels. This is particularly beneficial for individuals with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes because improved insulin sensitivity can also help with management by reducing the appetite and enhancing satiety. Better digestive health. Resistant starches increase stool bulk and act similarly to a dietary fiber, aiding in regular bowel movements and preventing constipation. They also help in the absorption of minerals, particularly calcium and magnesium. In terms of weight management, resistant starches have fewer calories compared to regular starches because they're not fully digested. They also increase the feeling of fullness or satiety and reduce subsequent food intake, which help with weight control. There is a reduced glycemic response, so foods containing resistant starches have lower glycemic index, meaning they're slower and more gradual rise in the blood sugar. This helps to maintain stable energy levels and prevent energy crashes. When you guys look at a GI, have you ever seen a glycemic index chart? You'll see foods that are quickly absorbed, that shoot up the blood sugar, and then it quickly drops, making sure, or with a focus on resistant starches, it's something that won't spike the blood sugar and then fall off. It's a lower glycemic. So some of the sources of these resistant starches come from legumes, beans, lentils, or chickpeas, whole grains, oats, barley, and quinoa, cooked and cooled starchy foods like potatoes, rice, and pasta develop resistant starches when they're cooked and then cooled off, and unripe bananas. So green bananas give a direct source of resistant starches, and certain seeds and nuts. So these also contribute to resistant starch intake. So making some notes in where you can start to add some of this into your diet. Maybe as you're following along, you can start to think about your daily meal plan and think about where you would add some of this stuff into your food and diets. Maybe drop it in the community chat, like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about adding in beans or lentils, or I've had it before at a restaurant, but I've never cooked it. And so just making a claim and just saying, I'm going to start to eat beans or chickpeas. For me, chickpeas, I can roast them and toss them on a salad, or I can put them in the air fryer, spray it with a little avocado oil, season it how I want, and then it's our snack throughout the day. These things can be snacks, and they should be, eating these grains and protein sources, as this is leaning towards feeding the gut in the way that we should be. That is going to help improve our health. So adding resistant starches to your diet can yield numerous health benefits, particularly for gut health, metabolic function, and weight management. And by incorporating a variety of sources in, such as legumes and whole grains, and cooked and cooled starchy foods, you can take additional advantage of these benefits. As with any dietary change, it's advisable to introduce resistant starches gradually to allow the digestive system to adapt to potentially reducing any initial discomfort. Just like fiber, I highly recommend just making sure that you are drinking your water with it. As we start to increase these foods that maybe you're not used to eating, it always could have a detox side effects if you were to just completely switch from the way you're eating. So be mindful of that as you change and introduce new foods to your diet. Next, I want to talk a little bit more about probiotics, what foods you can eat, and not just probiotics, meaning I took a probiotic supplement, but making sure we're also eating the foods that are also supporting the gut. So by definition, probiotics are live beneficial bacteria that help to maintain the natural balance of the gut microbiome. Remember last week when I talked to you guys about how we have more bugs in our digestive tract, in our guts, than we have DNA. And it's crazy to think about this, that like how many billions and millions and trillions of bugs that are living inside of us. And it makes sense why it's so important to be mindful about what we're feeding them, because we want the good ones to be in balance. Or otherwise, we're looking at dysbiosis, which we talked about last week. The function is to enhance the growth and the quality of the gut flora, support digestion, and improve the overall gut health, the gut being our second brain. Some of the benefits include an improved digestion because it aids in breaking down the food and absorbing nutrients efficiently, enhancing immune function, strengthening the immune system by making a healthy gut barrier, mental health, so having a positive impact on mood and mental health through the gut-brain axis, reduced gastrointestinal issues, which help alleviate symptoms of IBS, bloating, and other digestive disorders, and the prevention of infections, so complete with harmful bacteria, reducing the risks of infections. So our gut, as we talk about our gut being the second brain, is you will know if your gut isn't in its best state, if you deal with a lot of, different mood disturbances, like if you're easily annoyed, perturbed, pissed off, feisty, however you want to put it, this tells me that the gut is not happy. And so when we actually start to put emphasis on this, you will see that the mood actually changes as well. So next I want to talk about some of the sources of the probiotics. You will see this in yogurts, and they contain live cultures such as lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, and it's a versatile snack in smoothies. So for anti-inflammatory, the lowest inflammatory option would be having a plant-based yogurt. So you could do a coconut yogurt, and you literally can add a prebiotic capsule or a probiotic capsule to that yogurt and shake it up and leave it on your counter. And over time, it would also then be populated with a bacteria in your environment. I've also done this with actually not adding a probiotic as well, and just letting the natural bugs in the environment populate that coconut milk, or looking at the cashew yogurts as an alternative if you have sensitivity to dairy, and which I find that 99% of people do have some type of sensitivity to dairy, and when they take it out, we see less mucus production, less issues with sinus infections and GI issues. And so if you're trying to avoid it altogether, then you can go to the coconut milk or cashew based option, or if dairy doesn't bother you too bad, then making sure that your yogurt is organic and if it could be unpasteurized. So if you were going to make your own, if you could use unpasteurized milk would be best. Kefir, so fermented milk drink rich in diverse probiotic strains, can be consumed on its own or in added cereals. Both my hesitation for talking about yogurt and kefir, if you're going out to the store to buy either one of these, is that they are jam-packed full of added sugars. And in that case, you're actually not doing your gut a service. You're actually doing your gut a disservice by adding in all of the extra processed sugars into your diet. So be mindful of that if you're not making it your own, and if it is pasture raised, and if it is full of sugar, then it's actually going to do worse for our gut. But if we can make it on your own or get it unpastured and unpasteurized, then that's going to be the best case scenario. Sauerkraut. This is one of my favorite ways to do it, guys. When you're making your own prebiotics, you literally are going to make a salt brine. So you're going to take salt, Himalayan salt and or sea salt, whatever you want to use, and you put it in your water and you just mix it in until it's dissolved. And you will pack in your cabbage or whatever vegetable you want to use. And then you're going to make sure it's all submerged in water. So I just take a jar, fill it, and then I put a jar inside of there so everything is covered by water. So none of the molds can grow in there, and you just let it sit. You let it sit until it starts to create the bubbles and break down, and you'll see that you can make your own fermented anything, which is really amazing. But it's fermented cabbage. It's loaded with probiotics. You want to make sure if you are just buying this in the store that it says that it has live cultures in it. And it's a perfect side dish for topping sandwiches. I put it on top of my salads. And be mindful, the sauerkraut and the pickles that you'll see on the shelf actually don't have live cultures in it. So make sure you're getting it from the cold section. Then you'll know, and it should also say on there contains live probiotics, or it should say something of that sort on the container. Kimchi is spicy fermented vegetables, especially cabbage. It adds flavor and prebiotics. We put kimchi with our eggs, with our beef, with our veggies. We literally put kimchi at every meal. And that's something we learned when we were living in Korea. It was just normal for kimchi to be at each meal as a digestive property. It's actually helpful with the garlic, with the onions. And kombucha. This is a fermented tea beverage containing live cultures. It's a refreshing drink and a probiotic boost. My caveat or suggestion with kombucha is the same with yogurt and kefir, making sure that it hasn't been added with a ton of added sugars. There does require some adding of some sugar to ferment the bacteria in a kombucha, but I have seen some kombuchas be on the upside of 20 grams of added sugar. Again, that processed sugar actually strips the stomach lining of our stomach acid, and so we really don't want to be adding that in, especially as a really inflammatory substance in our body. So be mindful about your kombucha and your yogurts and your kefirs and making sure that we haven't put in a bunch of added sugar. So how to incorporate this in your diet, in your meals, include yogurt with your breakfast. Have some yogurt with your breakfast before. Have some kimchi with your eggs. Literally at each meal, if you can add in some type of probiotics, some type of ferments, that is going to be the best case scenario. Your side dishes in cooking, so in your miso soup and in dressings, add it as some flavor. In your beverages, you can have some kombucha as an alternative to soda, or like a mocktail. For us, it's not alcohol that we would treat ourselves to, but sometimes we would go out and get a kombucha, one that's much lower in sugar, and or if I know that it's organic and where the sugar source is coming from. So next we're going to talk a little bit about fiber. And fiber plays a crucial role in maintaining and improving gut health. It is a type of carbohydrate that the body cannot digest, and it passes through the digestive tract relatively intact. So there are two main types of fiber, both soluble and insoluble, and they contribute to the gut health in different ways. So fiber adds more bulk to the stools, just like the resistant starch. So the types of fiber, there's soluble fiber, which dissolves in water to form a gel-like substance, and it is found in foods like oats, beans, lentils, fruits, and vegetables. And there's insoluble fiber, and this does not dissolve in water and it adds bulk to the stool. And it's found in whole grains, nuts, seeds, and the skins of fruits and vegetables. Some of the benefits of eating fiber is that it promotes regular bowel movements, and the insoluble fiber adds bulk to the stool, which helps it pass quickly through the intestines. This can prevent constipation and promote regular bowel movements. If you guys are not pooping, I like to say before you eat your next meal, but if you're not pooping at least as many times you're eating, this is a concern to me, and it is a form of constipation. So if you're going to the bathroom once a day or once every 2 days, that's not enough. This is telling me that the GI tract is not healthy, it's not happy. We need to increase fiber, resistant starches, water. We start low, we go slow, we increase. So getting back to the benefits, it feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Soluble fiber acts as a prebiotic, providing food for the beneficial bacteria in the gut. When these bacteria ferment soluble fiber, they produce the short chain fatty acids like butyrate. I can't say any of these. Acetate and proteate. Can you guys say any of those? Which are essential for the colon health and have anti-inflammatory properties. Just know that they have the short chain fatty acids. It improves the gut barrier function produced during the fiber fermentation that strengthens the gut barrier by promoting the growth of gut cells and enhancing the production of mucus. This helps protect against pathogens and toxins and reduce the risk of infection and inflammation. Reduces inflammation. The anti-inflammatory properties of SCFAs, or short chain fatty acids, help reduce gut inflammation, which can be beneficial for individuals with inflammatory bowel disease or Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, in which when you're eating enough food, we actually can prevent a lot of these diseases. It regulates blood sugar levels, so soluble fiber slows down the absorption of sugar, leading to more stable blood sugar levels, and this is particularly beneficial for individuals with diabetes that also can reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So you guys remember when we talk about carbohydrates and having it in combination with a fat, fiber, or protein, that prevents that spike that we talked about just a couple minutes ago. And making sure that it's slowing down the absorption of the sugar. It also helps support weight management. So high fiber foods are more filling and they can help control the appetite and reduce overall calorie intake. This can aid in weight management and prevent obesity, a risk factor, and many chronic diseases. So if we're eating high fiber food, we're going to have more bulk to our poo. We're going to go regularly. We're going to decrease inflammation. We're going to have better weight management. Instead of eating foods that are high in calories, low in fiber, high in calories, low in nutrition, you're actually eating these different food groups that are filling the body with essential nutrition and also giving you fiber. It lowers cholesterol levels. Soluble fiber binds to cholesterol in the digestive system and helps remove it from the body, thereby lowering the total and LDL cholesterol levels. This supports cardiovascular health and reduces the risk of heart disease. So next I want to talk to you guys about the sources of fiber. And this is, again, a great place for you to take some notes and start to think about where I can add more of this into my daily food schedule, food regimen. And I'm picking those words instead of diet so you guys don't freak out thinking you're having to go on a diet. You're really just adjusting your food regimen and making a new pattern for what you're eating. So apples, your fruit, apples are rich in pectin, a type of soluble fiber. Berries are high in fiber and antioxidants. Pears contain both soluble and insoluble fiber. I really like berries for everybody. I really think that it is something with antioxidants that helps support the body without too much sugar, especially if you are struggling with weight management, diabetes, blood sugar issues. These are the fruits that would be the best case scenario for you. Berries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries. Next, broccoli. Broccoli is high in fiber and nutrients, and carrots are a good source of soluble fiber. Artichokes are one of the highest fiber vegetables. I love adding artichokes to like my cauliflower crust pizza, my salads. Carrots and broccoli are just an easy, good raw snack. So packing that up for when you're going to be out at a park or hanging out with friends and family, and you know that there's going to be other testing food groups around, bring yourself a snack that you know you'd like to munch on. Whole grains. So oats are rich in beta glucan, and it is a soluble fiber. Quinoa is a fiber and a protein. Brown rice contains both soluble and insoluble fiber. So I like to take the quinoa or brown rice, I like to take it and add it to a salad. So in addition to some type of bean, more of a plant-based option would be a bunch of greens mixed in with some quinoa, mixed in with some roasted chickpeas, mixed in with some maybe fruits, and make yourself these really full, hearty, nutrient, mineral-rich meals. Legumes. Beans are an excellent source of soluble and insoluble fiber, and lentils are high in fiber and protein. Chickpeas are great for adding to salads and soups and stir fries and everything. We will use our legumes, our chickpeas and our beans to make brownies and cookies. So you just mash them up, blend them in. I add some maple syrup to it, and that would be the replacement to a flour. Nuts and seeds. So chia seeds are extremely high in soluble fiber. Flax seeds are packed with fiber and omega-3 fatty acids, and almonds provide fiber and healthy fats. So looking at this list, where do you see yourself adding in more of the fiber into your diet? Maybe instead of the cereal for your breakfast, just honing in on one food group. Maybe instead of Pop-Tarts or cereal or toast, or bread, you end up having a yogurt with berries in it and some chia seeds and flax seeds and pumpkin seeds topped, instead of just a sugar cereal or Pop-Tart that actually doesn't have any nutrition for your body and causes inflammation. So look at where you can actually take some of these food and sub out for what you're doing right now. So how to incorporate in your diet? Start with a bowl of oatmeal topped with berries and chia seeds. Snacks. Choose fruits like apples or a handful of nuts and fiber to boost. Meals. Add beans and lentils and soups and stews and salads. And sides. Include a variety of vegetables like broccoli and carrots with your meals. And remember that fiber is essential for maintaining your gut health and overall well-being. So incorporating a variety of fiber-rich foods in your diet actually will enhance your gut health and reduce the risk of these different diseases. And so you want a balance of both soluble and insoluble fiber to maximize these health benefits. All of which these foods that I'm talking about are whole, real foods. If you're eating a variety of whole, well foods, you're going to naturally see that you're getting in the fiber, you're getting in resistant starches, you're getting these things naturally into your diet when you're eating whole foods. So I want you guys to drop in the comments in the community chat how you're going to add in your prebiotic, your probiotic, your resistant starch, your fiber. How or when, like what time of the day do you think it actually makes sense for you to do it? Listening to this presentation and hearing me jibber jabber around all these different things and all of how it's good for your body and what it does on a cellular level is great, so you can start to understand the scope of why it's good for you. But then actually taking it away and having a plan to implement it in your day to day is going to be the best thing for you. So we're actually getting into the behavioral change at that point in time. So fermented foods have undergone a process of lactofermentation where natural bacteria feed on the sugar and the starch, creating this lactic acid. The function of this process preserves the food and enhances its nutrient content and produces beneficial enzymes, B vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids, and probiotics. So some of the benefits are improving your digestion. It enhances the balance of the gut bacteria, aiding in digestion and nutrient absorption, which we want. We don't want it's not always just about what we're eating, it's what our body is capable of doing with the food we're eating. So if you're in a state of gut dysbiosis, then it doesn't matter necessarily what we eat. It's not until we can heal that gut lining that we can start to get the benefits of the digestion and the nutrient absorption. So we want to definitely put focus on that. Boosted immune system. So it strengthens the immune system by promoting a healthy gut microbiome. It increases the nutrient absorption, which we just talked about. It helps the body absorb more nutrients from the food that you eat. Mental health benefits. It supports the gut-brain axis, which potentially could improve the mood and cognitive function. And it reduces inflammation. It can help lower the inflammation in the gut and contribute to overall health. So I have some clients who are like, I don't know why, I just feel stiff, I feel sore. This is literally just inflammation in the body. And it's a result of the food that we eat, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the environment that we're exposed to, the stuff we're putting on our skin. And so we really want to focus on having anti-inflammatory foods in the body and being mindful about that. So how the fermentation produces probiotics. So through microbial action, the beneficial bacteria are key players, including Lactobacillus, Bifidobacteria, and various yeasts. You guys remember there are a million different types. The variety is so important for probiotics. So Lactobacillus converts lactose and other sugars to lactic acid and enhances the gut health and immunity. And Bifidobacterium breaks down fiber and produces vitamins and inhibits harmful bacteria. Yeasts contribute to the fermentation process and adds unique flavors to the food. And the proliferation during the fermentation process. The microorganisms feed on the sugars and the starches in the food, multiplying rapidly and increasing their concentration. So this is why you'll see in the different food groups, like naturally does occur in yogurts, naturally it does occur in these kefirs, but we want to be mindful about how much sugar they have put in there, as at some point it is not beneficial for us to be consuming if there's a ton of added sugars. So acidic conditions. Lactic acid produced during the fermentation process actually lowers the pH, creating an acidic environment. In preservation, the low pH inhibits the growth of spoilage of the microorganisms, extending the shelf life of the food. And probiotic thriving. The acidic environment is ideal for the proliferation of bacteria, beneficial bacteria, while preventing harmful bacteria from growing. Nutrient transformation. Fermentation can increase the bioavailability of nutrients, making them easier to absorb. What you'll see, guys, is if eating raw foods is tough on the digestive system, you will see that fermented foods actually ends up being the best case scenario for nutrient absorption for your body. So if you're somebody who has GI issues and you notice that when you have a salad or when you have cruciferous vegetables, you're really gassy, then this is a really good place to start. The fermentation process actually starts to break that down, and so it's already bioavailable. It's already ready for your body instead of putting a lot of stress and strain in that breakdown process. So eat fermented foods. It's much more easy to digest. So the end product is rich in live microorganisms. So the fermented foods are packed with live beneficial bacteria and yeasts that confer various health benefits. Enhanced digestive health, so Probiotics can maintain a balanced gut microbiome, aiding in digestion and preventing gastrointestinal issues. And an immune support. So probiotics support the immune system and enhance the gut barrier and promotes healthy immune responses. In nutrient absorption, probiotics actually help the absorption of essential nutrients such as vitamins and minerals, improving overall nutrition. And mental health benefits. A healthy microbiome is linked to a better mood and cognitive function through the gut-brain axis, which we will talk about more in a little bit here. So we are all sold on the idea of eating fermented foods. Like I said, it's as simple as making your own saltwater brine, and you can throw anything in there. Beans, snap peas, make your own pickles. Literally just start to play with fermenting different foods. I see in traveling that other cultures are already doing this naturally, where they have a bunch of different side dishes of different fermented foods. And it's their snack, it's part of their meals, it's part of their side dishes, rather than us snacking on completely empty caloric foods, anything processed or anything that's not whole or real food. Chips, cookies, all that stuff. So next we're going to talk about polyphenol-rich foods, and it is a diverse group of naturally occurring compounds found in plants, known for their antioxidant properties and numerous health benefits. So adding polyphenol-rich foods to your diet can support overall health and prevent various diseases. So polyphenols are categorized into 4 main types. Flavonoids are found in fruits and vegetables, teas, and wines. And here are some subcategories of those. Phenolic acids are found in coffee, fruits, whole grains, and seeds, and include caffeine, acid, and ferulic acid. And polyphenolic amides are found in chili peppers and oats. Here are a couple examples if you're already familiar with them. And other polyphenols include still beans, which is found in red wine, lignans, found in flax seeds, sesames, and whole grains. Here are some of the benefits of polyphenol-rich foods. They are rich in antioxidants. They protect the cells from oxidative damage caused by free radicals, and this reduces the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease, cancer, and neurodegenerative disorders. I would add in here beneficial for autoimmune diseases, as that is happening as a result of the body attacking itself. So when we have free radicals in the body, these are really unstable cells. And because they're unstable, they'll go to other cells and steal their atoms to make them stable. And so it causes havoc in the body. It causes inflammation. And so eating your food for a purpose and increasing antioxidants is going to help your body when it does have free radicals. Anti-inflammatory effects. So polyphenols have anti-inflammatory properties which actually reduce chronic inflammation, which is a key factor in many diseases such as arthritis, cardiovascular diseases, and cancers. And it's beneficial for heart health because it is associated with lowering the blood pressure, reducing LDL cholesterol levels, and improving the endothelial function, which reduces the risk of heart disease. And brain health. So polyphenols can cross the blood-brain barrier, which protect the brain and cells from damage. They enhance cognitive function and improve memory, and also reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Some more benefits are for your gut health. They act as prebiotics and promote the growth of beneficial gut bacteria. This leads to improved digestion, enhanced immune function, and reduced risk of gastrointestinal disorders. It also helps with blood sugar control. So polyphenols will improve insulin sensitivity and regulate blood sugar levels, which are beneficial for managing and preventing type 2 diabetes. More than ever, diabetes is on the rise. Before, just within the last, I think for children, diabetes is now up to 30% for children. This is insane. This is due to the diets that are not rich in all these nutrients, rich in fiber, rich in polyphenols, rich in resistant starches, rich in probiotics. So be mindful to eat for your health. Weight management. So some studies are actually showing that polyphenols can actually aid in weight management by increasing fat metabolism, reducing fat absorption, and enhancing the feelings of satiety. So getting rid of the cravings. So now that we talked about polyphenols, and its benefits, let's have you identify some of the sources, and again, a chance for you to get the notepad and write down how can you start to add some of this into your day, into your diet. So fruits and berries, strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries, apples, grapes, cherries, and citrus fruits. Vegetables, onions, spinach, kale, broccoli, and artichokes. Beverages such as green tea, black tea, coffee, and red wine. And for me, I am not set on this all coming from coffee, especially if you are plagued or you struggle with anxiety, as I find that anything with caffeine actually can amplify that. So I would say focus on the food sources or the green tea. Nuts and seeds, so flaxseed, sesame, and almonds. Legumes, black beans, lentils, and chickpeas. And herbs and spices, so turmeric, cloves, cinnamon, and oregano. You guys, isn't it interesting that these polyphenol-rich foods are also prebiotic, are also probiotic? They all are feeding the same system. So as you're making your list, maybe you already said, hey, I'm going to pick up and have blueberries in my oatmeal in the morning. And I've already decided to add in some chia seeds. I already decided to add in some flax seeds. You're checking off the box for getting in your polyphenols, your fiber, your probiotics that you need to support your blood sugar levels, to support optimal health. And dark chocolate, so rich in flavonoids, are particularly cocoa-derived polyphenols. So also be mindful. Some of these things, our teas, our coffee, our wine, and our chocolate, all of those things, if you're buying them out in the store, are typically also heavy in sugars. So you can't just go and get a coffee anymore. I just did this the other day. I experienced it. I went and got myself a tea and asked all the questions about whether it's sweetened or how they do it. And I find out it was an in-home brew, and I'm like, great, sounds good. And I took one sip, and I knew that it was just laden with sugar, and I couldn't drink it, And so I was like, I won't drink it. And so being mindful that these sources, maybe if you're going out and not making it yourself, are typically really heavily laden with sugar that is going to help reverse the thing that we really want, is getting our food to be a source of our medicine. So next we're going to talk about foods to avoid. And I think you guys have some understanding of this based on the last couple weeks and as we talk about the standard American diet. But I want to be able to lay out the list for you so you can be like, okay, wait, I do eat that. I do eat that. I do eat that. And start to be like, this is something that we don't wait until we eat it all. We actually just can take it and throw it in the trash. And I know that suggestion is a big suggestion, and it might feel like, are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? And I'll tell you what, I had experienced this for myself with my husband when we went completely away from processed sugar and looking in our pantry and just ditching it. So it's not helping your health to decide to finish it off. It's going to push you further away from your place of ideal health. So by taking it and getting rid of it, getting it out of your house is going to be the best case scenario. So you could start to crowd out the food. So that means adding in a lot of the good stuff. So adding in ample amount of fermented food, ample amounts of fruits and vegetables. Fill the refrigerator, fill the freezer, frozen berries as your treats, frozen mangoes, all that. And then you don't even really even have to put focus on foods to avoid once it's out of the house. Okay? So this is maybe your list to start to get rid of stuff. So processed foods that contain artificial preservatives and dyes and refined ingredients. How you know if it's processed, flip it over, look at the food label. If there are ingredients that you don't know they are or you wouldn't carry them in your house, it's processed enough, throw it in the trash. These foods actually disrupt the balance of the gut bacteria and lead to dysbiosis. They are typically low in fiber and high in unhealthy fats and sugars. So test it. I ask you to do this for fun. Look at the back of the food label. Look at the fats. Look at the sugars. You don't have to take it just from me. Look at the ingredients and you will be able to see that. Sugary foods and beverages. Foods that are high in sugar, sodas, candies, pastries, cereals. I'm trying to think what else. Anything in the snack aisle, anything in the lunches aisle. I just recently went shopping and above it said snacks for kids' lunches. And I went down the aisle and I took a video and I would not have put any single one of those things in my kids' lunches. There is no way in hell I would have put that in their lunches. And so anything that is not real food, meaning it's in a package, it's in a box, I wouldn't consider this as real food. Excessive sugar intake feed the harmful bacteria and the yeast in the gut. This is where you'll see people have candida issues, thrush. It can lead to increased intestinal permeability, leaky gut, and inflammation in the overall gut health. We're going to talk a little bit more about leaky gut here in a little bit. But sugar definitely has an impact, stripping away the stomach acid and making you crave more. It doesn't help with satiety. It actually increases your cravings and it increases your desire to eat more of it. If you don't know how to overcome your sugar addictions, I will tell you L-glutamine can actually support that. So if you have a sweet tooth and you're stepping away from these processed sugars, you can take an L-glutamine capsule and actually drop it on your tongue and wait 5 to 10 minutes and see if the craving has gone away. And then crowd out. So first, help that sweet tooth by eating some frozen fruit. See if you're still hungry after that. And start to crowd out the other stuff that you used to snack on. So more on what to avoid. So artificial sweeteners, sugar substitutes like aspartame and sucralose. They're found in diet sodas. They're sugar-free products and some processed foods. They actually can intervene with the stomach lining. Studies are suggesting that artificial sweeteners can actually alter the gut microbiome and negatively impact the glucose metabolism. This disruption can lead to metabolic disorders and digestive issues. What we have found and recognized is that some of these foods actually, the zero sugar, the erythritol, it's difficult for your digestive system to process, so it creates a lot of more gas in the body, a lot more discomfort. Fatty and fried foods. So fast food and certain packaged snacks, you'll see the seed oils are one that I definitely try to avoid. Trans fats is definitely cut that out. All of that you want to avoid altogether as it is inflammatory and it slows down digestion and creates bloating and gas. High fat diets can also alter the microbial composition and promote the growth of harmful bacteria. So fat isn't bad altogether. It's actually essential. We need it. But we want to make sure we're getting our fat from really good sources like avocados, coconut oil. Those saturated fats are actually really beneficial for our brain health, for our body. So avoid gluten-containing foods for people who are sensitive to gluten. So wheat, barley, and rye. And now in a food industry that now sprays our wheat, our barley, our rye, all of how it's harvested is 1 hour up until harvest, they're allowed to spray the fields with glyphosate. And glyphosate is really damaging to the stomach lining. And so not only do our grains, should they be organic and not sprayed with these different things, but also just avoiding glutinous food, because gluten is like a glue. It's a binding substance. Have you guys ever had a gluten-free bread? Have you ever compared it to a piece of bread? The difference is it actually like kind of crumbles in your hand, or when you go to eat it, it'll be breaking apart. So that gluten, that glue, is the sticky substance that actually will start to stick on the villi inside our intestinal tract. And these villi are supposed to be like kind of reaching out and absorbing the different nutrition. And over time, with this gluey substances, they start to get worn down. These finger-like projections are no longer capable of absorbing nutrients, and it creates these gaps in the intestinal lining, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So gluten, for that purpose, I recommend staying away from it, as it is inflammatory food. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that we replace all of the carbohydrates that we're eating, such as bread and wraps and grains. It doesn't mean that we take it and put in a gluten-free option, as that probably is likely going to do the same thing. It means we take out all those glutinous foods, those cakes, those cookies, those pastries, and we start to put in more whole foods, such as berries and fruits and vegetables, legumes, beans, poultry, beef, that instead. So for individuals with gluten sensitivity, consuming gluten can trigger inflammation and damage the gut, and this can lead to malabsorption of nutrients and various digestive issues. So that's specific for celiac disease, and gluten sensitivity. But I also see most of the time when people remove this from their diet, it starts to help them and their digestive tract, and they'll see a difference in their poop. You'll see a difference in your poop and how you're using the bathroom and how you're regularly eliminating. You'll see it through your skin. You'll see it through your mood and not having that brain fog. Dairy products. So for lactose intolerant peoples, so casein is the protein that is in our dairy products, and we don't actually have the ability to break this down. So it's, I guess, basically a scale. What I'll see is most people have some sort of sensitivity, and they don't realize it until they take it out of their diet, and then after a month or two reintroduce it and see that it does cause them some dietary distress. It does cause postnasal drip. It does cause inflammatory response in their body. So I just suggest trying it out, see how it works for you. If you are going to be buying dairy products, make sure it's organic. Make sure that it is unpasteurized, as that is going to be the best source for you. So lactose intolerance can lead to gas and bloating and diarrhea due to the inability to properly digest lactose, and in individuals, dairy products can actually disrupt the gut health and cause discomfort. I also see that dairy has a secretion, and it causes full body relaxation. So when I ask people to give up cheese, there's usually an emotional response, because when they eat cheese, it makes them so happy, it makes them feel so satiated, fulfilled. And that's because it definitely has a chemical imprint, and it makes your body make you feel really good and relaxed and kind of sleepy. And so if you take this out, you're going to see that it doesn't have that same effect. Much like bread, it does the same thing. It actually helps you feel like really relaxed and sleepy. And what's interesting is it actually makes you want more as well. So the opposite of giving you satiety actually increases the cravings. So red and processed meats. So beef, pork, lamb, and processed meats such as sausage, bacon, and deli meats. Really what I see to be the most impactful, or the thing that I would actually avoid the most is here would be like your sausages, your hot dogs, and deli meats, because it's just kind of foreign substances that they can inject with different dyes or different gels to keep them in their state or regular state. In terms of like your beef and lamb, I would say that as long as these foods are organic, this is really important. And even pork, like being mindful about where your animals are coming from. Traditional practices for eating these different animal sources are really inhumane, but they're also pumping them full of antibiotics in order to beef them up. Antibiotics are actually used most for our food industry, so for the animals, in order to make them fat, to make more money from them. So antibiotics have the same effect on us. So if you're eating animals that are constantly eating antibiotics, you're then getting exposed to that as well. So making sure that if you are eating these meats, then to make sure that we're A, eating them in moderation, and B, we're eating organic, grass-fed, whole-sourced, rather than we don't know where this is, and a cheap meat. High consumption of red meats have been increased to a risk of colon cancer and can promote inflammation. And these meats can alter the gut microbiota in a way that favors harmful bacteria. I find that the meats that aren't really meats, so the sausages and the hot dogs, it's not really a quality meat. That is more harmful and inflammatory to the body than eating a grass-fed burger. Okay, so it's the quality of the meat that matters. And alcohol, so beverages, beer, wine, and spirits. And I know you just said, hey, wait, back there you said it's okay for me to drink wine. Yes, and coffee, it's the same thing. There are some benefits, the polyphenols in it, that is beneficial to the body, but there's also other ways to get those beneficials in our bodies. So just being mindful about how much you're consuming. So excessive alcohol consumption can damage the gut lining and increase gut permeability, and it's also really taxing on the liver, which is also busy filtering out the excessive amount of sugar in our body and other toxins that we're coming into contact with. So that was all about the things to avoid, the things in your fridge that you can just get rid of and just say goodbye to as you step into putting in all those good things that you made a list of like what I'm going to put in my refrigerator, what I'm going to fill up in this week. And you're dropping a comment in the community chat of how you're going to start to implement some of that, focusing on one meal at a time. If your breakfast is already really nutritious, you're eating some scrambled eggs, you're having some kimchi with it, and some berries, and you already have that on lockdown, then maybe you move into the next one. Like, I really need some help with the lunches. And now I'm going to try that salad thing you said. I'm going to try some kale and arugula and some broccoli sprouts and some nuts and seeds in there, some hemp hearts and artichoke hearts and cucumbers and beets. I'm just going to make the salad colorful, and then I'm going to add in a protein source and be mindful about all that. And then also work on the dressing, because right now I just load up with dressing, and I know that it's loaded in sugar, the ones I like. So you're going to just work on one of those areas at a time until you get to the point where you have crowded out all of the toxic inflammatory foods. Okay? So it makes sense. If we try to make a change to all this at once, it's overwhelming. You'll throw in the towel and you won't stick with it. So making it make sense for you to actually start to make this change is so imperative, because it doesn't just happen overnight. Okay? So take some time, start to make a plan, and also don't wait for yourself to start to make the change. You can literally finish this video or be listening to this information and getting rid of these things that we're talking about. And as you see that your cupboards are empty and you need to go out and shopping, then that's a good thing. Go out and get the foods, go out and get the fresh fruits and vegetables and whole grains that are going to support a healthy diet. So hydration and gut health. We're going to talk about signs of dehydration, as hydration is a fundamental aspect of overall health, including gut health. Adequate water plays a role in the digestive process, nutrient absorption, and maintaining the integrity of the gastrointestinal tract. So recognizing the signs of dehydration is important for maintaining the health. So dry mouth and throat, dark yellow urine, fatigue and dizziness, and infrequent urination. My 4-year-old will tell me, "Hey mom, my pee is white." He's always making sure that he gives me feedback about his urine color. As we use our elimination, both through our urine and through our poo, as telling us about our overall health. So I'll always comment on whether they need to drink more water or whether they need to have different food in their diet, whether that's we're going to have some kimchi today, or you're pushing really hard, is not coming out, let's work on eating some more fruits. And so we're using that as a regular feedback. And dry skin. So if you're feeling like chapped lips, dry skin, constantly needing to apply topically, then this could be a sign of dehydration and constipation. So the importance of hydration in the gut health is it facilitates indigestion. It is essential for the breakdown of food. It helps dissolve soluble fibers and fats, making it easier for the body to absorb it. So adequate hydration ensures that the digestive enzymes and the stomach acid function effectively, promoting efficient digestion. It prevents constipation. So proper hydration maintains the stool consistency and eases through the passage of the intestine, and water softens the stool, preventing it from becoming hard and dry, which can lead to constipation. Insoluble fiber works best when it absorbs with water, adding bulk and softness to the stool. And it enhances motility, so water is crucial for maintaining the smooth muscle function in the gastrointestinal tract. Proper hydration helps regulate peristalsis, the wave-like contractions that move through the digestive system. This ensures timely digestion and prevents issues like gas and bloating. So peristalsis, think about your GI tract actually like kind of moving along the poo, and our water helps with that as well, so it's not just getting stuck. So even, we'll talk about this in another section too, if you are dehydrated, you're not drinking enough water, but then you're having the fiber, say you were to be like take all the notes and you increase all this fiber in your diet and you don't have enough water, what you'll see is you end up creating more constipation. So water is imperative at the same time as you increase fiber, you increase your water intake. It also helps the gut mucosa. So the mucosal lining, the gut relies on proper hydration to function effectively. The lining acts as a barrier against pathogens and facilitates in the passage of food. Adequate hydration maintains the thickness and integrity of this protective barrier. It balances the gut flora. Dehydration can actually disrupt the balance, leading to an overgrowth of harmful bacteria and decrease the beneficial bacteria, which can negatively impact the gut health and the immune system. It also helps reduce inflammation. So chronic dehydration can actually lead to an inflammation in the gut. The inflammation can damage the intestinal lining and contribute to conditions such as irritable bowel disease and irritable bowel syndrome. Staying hydrated helps to reduce the risk of inflammation. Water and nutrient absorption. It supports nutrient absorption. So water aids in the absorption of nutrients by dissolving them and carrying them into different parts of the body. Without adequate hydration, the absorption process is impaired, leading to deficiencies that is essential for different nutrients. So look at the different minerals in your drinking water. We're getting calcium, magnesium. I actually don't agree with this fluoride here. Iron, phosphorus, iodine, sodium, copper, and zinc. Some of these fluoride, bromide, this is actually why we intentionally filter out our city water, because of those added substances that actually calcifies the pineal gland in your brain. So we intentionally filter out our water so we're not drinking that, and then we'll add in essential minerals that we're getting from our drinking water. So here's some tips for staying hydrated. So you're going to want to drink regularly. It's best for you to drink water not while you're eating, but before you eat your meal. So if you drink your water about 20 minutes before your meal, that would be the best case scenario. Avoid drinking water with your food. Because what that actually does is it teaches you to not use the saliva, produce enough saliva, which contains the amylase to break down the food. So we want to make sure that during mealtime, we're not drinking with the meal. Instead, we're drinking before it. So we're making sure that we're actually hungry and not thirsty. And drinking throughout the day rather than when you feel thirsty. Because at that point in time, you're already dehydrated. So carry water with you. Remind yourself to drink it regularly. Replace your any kind of beverages that you're drinking that are sugary, like your sports drinks, with just regular water. And if you're needing more hydration instead of a Gatorade and you're like, I'm feeling dehydrated, coconut water is going to be your best source of electrolytes. So include hydrating foods. So consume foods that are high in water content, such as cucumbers, tomatoes, watermelon, oranges, strawberries, soups, and broths. Our food does contain the water, especially when we're eating whole food. All of our fruits, our vegetables, broths, this is all giving us more water that is essential for our body systems. Monitor your fluid intake, so keep track of it, especially during the hot water, exercise, or illness if you need more fluids. And be mindful of if water is a new thing for you, you want to make sure bring it into your routine, just like brushing your teeth. So for me, it is a routine for me to wake up and before I eat anything else, I drink water. And that makes sense because we just went an entire night rest without drinking anything. So before eating, then first hydrate. Before eating, first hydrate. So just make that as you start to prepare your meals, drink 16 to 20 ounces, first hydrate, make that a routine. And then as that becomes more of your regular, you're going to feel more satiated and it's going to help you feel better. And limit dehydrating beverages such as caffeine or alcohol that actually have a diuretic effect. And adjust for activity level. So if you're really active, you're going to be losing more of your fluid through sweat. If you live in a tropical environment or in Hawaii, we actually sweat more here. So being mindful about what you need for where you live and your activity levels is important. In conclusion, hydration is vital for maintaining gut health and overall well-being. It facilitates indigestion, prevents constipation, and supports nutrient absorption, and maintains the gut mucosa. It balances gut flora, reduces inflammation, and enhances motility. Ensuring adequate amount of water intake through regular drinking habits and consuming hydrating foods can significantly improve the gut health and prevent digestive issues. I see as people will start to have more of mindfulness around their water consumption, it actually also helps with their weight loss because they're no longer eating to fill this hole, but they're actually noticing that what they were missing was water. They're actually just thirsty. So by paying attention to your hydration, you can support your digestive function and your overall health. I would say 64 ounces at a minimum. I go for my body weight in ounces. So I think that you should start to play around with that. If you haven't been drinking water and this is new to you, then start with drink water before I eat. Drink water before I eat. So 16 to 20 ounces. That would get you up to 60 ounces a day, not including the water that you're getting from your food. That would be a huge improvement from where you're starting. So let's talk about the gut-brain axis and how it affects your mental health. So the gut-brain axis is a complex communication network lining the gastrointestinal tract and the central nervous system. This bidirectional relationship involves various pathways, including neuro, hormonal, immune mechanisms, profoundly impacting mental health. So here's an analysis on the gut-brain axis and its effects on mental health. The neural pathways. So there is a vagus nerve. It is a key component, direct line of communication between the gut and the brain, and it transmits signals about the gut's condition to the brain, influencing mood and cognitive functions. Hormonal pathways. The gut produces various hormones and neurotransmitters such as serotonin, which plays a significant role in mood regulation. Approximately 90% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut. Immune pathways. The gut-associated lymphoid tissue plays a crucial role in the immune system. Inflammation in the gut can trigger the systemic inflammation, affecting the brain function and mental health. And the microbiota. The gut microbiota, composed of trillions of microorganisms, produce metabolites like short-chain fatty acids and neurotransmitters that influence the brain function and behavior. So the effects of the gut-brain axis on mental health. This, to me, it's like this is all connected. Mood regulation. The gut microbiota influences the production of neurotransmitters such as serotonin and GABA, which are critical for mood regulation. Dysbiosis, or an imbalance in the gut bacteria, is linked to mood disorders like anxiety and depression. The stress response. The gut-brain axis modulates the body's stress response. Chronic stress can alter the gut permeability, leading to leaky gut, affecting the gut microbiota, and increased inflammation, which in turn can exacerbate mental health issues. Cognitive function. The gut microbiota produces metabolites that can cross the blood-brain barrier, affecting cognitive functions such as learning and memory. Dysbiosis has been associated with cognitive impairments and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Behavioral change. Research has actually shown that the microbiota can influence behavior. For example, changes in the gut have been linked to autism spectrum disorders and other behavioral conditions. Inflammation and mental health. Chronic gut inflammation can lead to an increased systemic inflammation, which is implicated in the pathophysiology of various mental health disorders, including depression and schizophrenia. When we look at the mood, like which I talked to you about, if you're routinely agitated, if you're routinely bothered by things, people, environments, it does return back to the gut. In Chinese medicine, there is this idea of like even the heart being blocked, even feeling like we can't love, we don't want to let people in, we're agitated. Like this is an impact of our digestive system. So think about this as you spread your hands out wide. This is your impact on your overall health, your energy field. And so if you're annoyed oftentimes, it does link back to our gut health. So there is evidence supporting the gut-brain axis. Probiotics in mental health. Studies have shown that probiotics in beneficial bacteria improve the symptoms of depression and anxiety. Probiotics may work with enhancing the gut health and reducing inflammation. Dietary impact. Diets rich in fiber, prebiotics, and fermented foods promote healthy gut microbiota, which is associated with better mental health outcomes. Conversely, diets high in processed food and sugar can disrupt this gut microbiota balance and negatively impact mental health. Schizobiotics. This emerging field of studies specific strains of bacteria that have a positive impact on mental health. These modulate the gut-brain axis, potentially offering new treatments for mental health disorders. I have seen this in every single one of my clients, that as they work on supporting their gut health, their anxiety goes away. People have taken themselves off of their medicine as soon as we have taken out the processed foods and start feeding the gut microbes the way it should be. So bringing their body back into balance, bringing the good bacteria and feeding them what they should be eating, getting off of the antibiotics, not eating foods and animals that are pumped with antibiotics, and eating high fiber, eating high polyphenols, eating high probiotic, prebiotic foods to support this, and watching from being medicated constantly to coming off of all medications because they are mood lifts and it completely changes. So I've seen this in my personal life with clients that I've worked with over the last years. And there will be more. There will be more as we continue to address the SAD diet. The gut-brain axis plays a crucial role for mental health with the gut microbiota, the neural and hormonal and immune pathways, all contributing to this complex interaction. So, by maintaining a healthy gut through diet, probiotic, stress management, individuals can positively impact their mental health, which we're going to talk more about how stress impacts it as well. As research continues to uncover the mechanisms behind the gut-brain connection, new opportunities for treating mental health disorders through the gut interventions are emerging. And this is exciting stuff because anxiety is real. I see it in 99% of the clients that I serve because our nervous systems are taxed. We are doing too much. We have too much stress in our lives. We have too much on our shoulders, on our backs. And if you're in this fertility journey and you're trying to increase your fertility due to the diagnosis of infertility or the fact that you've been trying and you haven't conceived, then you're likely to be in a state of high stress. And the vagus nerve that is communicating from the brain to the gut is disturbed, and getting yourself into more of a state of relaxation so you can start to digest and actually absorb the essential nutrients that your body needs. So I told you we were going to talk about leaky gut, and we're here now. So we did talk about this last week a little bit, and today I want to dive into, yes, the signs and symptoms. As you start to lean in and look at some of these signs and symptoms, you're going to be like, yes, I have some of this. Okay, how am I going to start to change it? And so you're going to get those tips here now. So as you know, leaky gut is the increased intestinal permeability. Remember when our food's supposed to go from our mouth to our anus, and instead all these different food substances, the undigested food particles and toxins start to slip through the gut and into the bloodstream. This condition can trigger inflammatory responses that can contribute to a variety of health issues. So dietary factors, processed food, sugar, unhealthy fats all damage the gut lining. A diet lacking fiber, vitamins, and minerals also contributes to poor gut health. Chronic stress. Persistent stress can weaken the immune system and the gut barrier, leading to increased intestinal permeability. Infections, so gut infections caused by bacteria, viruses, and parasites can disrupt the gut lining and increase permeability. Medications, long-term use of NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, antibiotics, and other medications can damage the gut lining that contribute to gut health. And by now, you guys should also know that if you're eating the animals that are eating the antibiotics, then that can also count and have an impact on your health. Alcohol consumption can irritate and inflame the gut lining. And the imbalance in the gut microbiota, or the dysbiosis. The imbalance of those beneficial bacteria to the harmful bacteria can damage the intestinal lining. I would like to also include in the causes, the chemicals that we're using on our food and in our skin also impacts that. Farming practices back when my grandma was around, where your hands were in the dirt and you just farmed. You didn't need a mask or anything. And now you'll see in fields and different farmers and farming practices, they're actually wearing masks and spraying the fields because these chemicals are really deadly for us to breathe in and also to eat. And so making sure that you're not eating foods that's been sprayed with different chemicals, pesticides, and the most common one being Roundup, which contains glyphosate. And glyphosate definitely impacts our ability to our gut lining as well. So here are some of the symptoms. Digestive issues. We have seen this in a chart a couple different ways, much like gut dysbiosis. So symptoms: gas, bloating, diarrhea, and constipation. Food sensitivities. So when there's an increased permeability, larger molecules actually enter into the bloodstream and will trigger immune responses. And inflammatory responses. So chronic inflammation due to leaky gut. So IBS, IBD, and other autoimmune diseases, Hashimoto's, cancer. Nutrient deficiencies, so damage to the gut lining will actually impair your ability to absorb different nutrition. And it can lead to deficiencies in vitamins and minerals. And skin problems, so conditions like acne and eczema, rosacea can all be linked to the gut. So here are some of the symptoms here. Look through them. Have you guys ever experienced any of these? If so, let's give that as an answer or an indication that we need to dive in deeper to healing the gut. So here are 3 ways to treat the leaky gut. Nutritional supplements. This can include L-glutamine, which is an amino acid that helps repair the gut lining. Zinc, which is important for immune function and gut health. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory properties that support gut health. Vitamin D is essential for the immune function and gut integrity. And also reducing stress. So using our meditations, yoga, deep breathing, and adequate sleep all help stress and improve gut. Remember that gut-brain axis. So making sure that the state of your mental state, relaxation, and using that can help you relax. And I also encourage you to use some of these practices of mindfulness, of rest and relaxation around your food practices. So sitting down, taking a moment to breathe, give gratitude for the food in front of you, or just take a time to smell it, see it, sense it, enjoy it. Take a breath, relax before you start eating. And it's not necessarily the normal practice in our culture anymore. And so getting away from screens, not using our phone or scanning the internet while we're eating and doing stuff mindfully, but really diving in, being mindful and setting an intention and being in a state of relaxation when we introduce food to our diet, our body. And avoid triggering foods, which we already talked about, different triggering foods. So in conclusion, it is crucial to maintain a healthy gut through a balanced diet. And we want to incorporate fiber-rich foods. We want to incorporate water, staying hydrated. We want to incorporate these polyphenol-rich foods and probiotics and prebiotics and manage your stress to support the gut lining. It will help you, your mental health and your physical health. It will help your blood sugar. It will help your mood. It will help all the areas. Remember that a healthy gut is the foundation of healthy life. So make mindful food choices, listen to your body, and take proactive steps to nurture your gut every day. So if you guys aren't already doing it, make sure you're following me on YouTube, Roots in Fertility. There I post content that isn't necessarily here in this course. I'm so grateful for you guys to be here. Drop your notes of what are your next steps. What are you going to do? What are you going to implement? How are you going to change one of those meals or maybe 2 of those meals? And actually putting this stuff into action, actually taking this and ready to move forward. Not just sitting here listening to this information and not doing anything to move it forward. We actually need to move the next step forward. So what is it that you're going to do? Make a comment in the post, use the community, have us help you be accountable during this point in time. See you in the next lesson.